how to play one-dimensional chess.
Hey, my name is Doc, and this is One Dimensional Chess. This is a board game I've been working on, modified chess rules. Obviously, it takes place in one dimension. There's 16 squares. You have one of each piece, starting with the king, queen, rook, bishop, knight, and pawn. And everything moves pretty close to the way it normally would in chess. The one exception is, obviously, all the rules have been changed to fit in one playing. Pawns can still move forward, but instead of capturing diagonally, capture straight forward. Now, on its opening move, the pawn can still move 1 or 2 times. So if you haven't moved your pawn yet, you can move it twice, but you can't capture. Let's say the opponent does the same thing. On this move, the pawn can't move backwards because pawns can never move backwards. All the rest of the pieces can. Pawns move forward and capture forward. So in this move, the pawn can capture that, which brings us to the knights. Knights can move 2 or 3 squares. They jump over pieces in their way. They can't move 1 or 4 squares. They can only move 2 or 3. So this knight has the option of moving to this space and being threatened by the pawn, or obviously capturing the pawn. If there was a piece in front of the knight, a knight can jump over that piece, 2 or 3 squares. As long as it's landing on a piece that either has an opponent's piece on it or that's empty, you can move to it. You just can't move on to it if it's, you know how chess works. So let's get to bishops. Bishops are actually the most interesting piece in the whole game and sort of the hardest to predict. A bishop has the possibility of threatening a larger part of the board than you might actually think. They're way more dangerous in one-dimensional chess than two-dimensional chess. Basically, the way bishops work is you only are moving every other square that's unoccupied. You are only looking at the squares of the same color as what you're starting. So this bishop's on white. It can move to any of these squares on white. And it doesn't matter that there's something here or here because those aren't white squares. So you are only looking to see here or here. The bishop can move as many of those unoccupied squares as it wants, as long as it's not jumping over a piece on its same color or going beyond an opponent's piece. But it could actually, on this turn, this bishop could go here, bam, and capture a rook. So that bishop went every other square until it ran into a rook and it captured it. Now the king is in check. And just like with normal chess, if the king's in check, you have to move out of check or find some way to prevent that check. Otherwise, it is a checkmate. Luckily, we have a queen there. Now, queens move like rooks or like bishops. We haven't talked about rooks yet, so let's start with that. Rooks can move forward or backward as many squares as they want, but they can't pass through pieces. So that's just like regular chess. A rook moves in a straight line. In this case, it can only go to here. But if this piece wasn't here, this rook could go all the way here and capture. So rooks can travel in a straight line as many squares as they want, as long as they're not moving through pieces. Queens can move like a rook, or they can move like a bishop, meaning this bishop can move on to every other black square that's not occupied, so really it only has one move. If this bishop wasn't here, this queen could either go here, here, or here. So queens move like rooks or bishops, depending on which one you want to do. In this case, the bishop is threatening the king. The queen's going to come in and resolve that check. Now we have pretty much everything. The one piece we haven't talked about is the king. The king can move forward or backward 1 square. It can capture pieces. It can't jump through pieces because it's only going 1 square. The king can never move into check. And if the king is in check and can't get out, that's checkmate. Now, check is just when a piece is getting threatened. When the king is threatened and could get captured on the next move, that's check. We played a few moves here. This is actually a pretty typical first-time setup. If it was white's turn, white would probably want to do something to clear their white squares. So now they can use this queen. And in this position, black has a ton of moves. Black could capture, jump over. Black could take this queen and move it every other white square. It's got this unoccupied path and take the king, or take the queen. Let's do that just to kind of get the game moving. So in this case, the king can move forward. or the rook can move. And that's kind of how the game works. Actually, this would be pretty interesting. Bam. Nope, can't move there. So he moves there. Rook moves here. Bishop moves here. That's a stalemate. So I just showed you a stalemate for my pitch video.
Doc Pop's one-dimensional chess is now available on onedimensionalchess.com. It is available as a print and play you can print out at home, and it is available in multiple languages. So check it out.